So, the primary thing that I want to discuss today is basically how recruiters rank candidates. Can you guys hear me? If you could just drop in the comments, let me know if you can hear me. Um, so, whenever you apply for a position, recruiters are evaluating you. First, they're screening you. So there's usually, if you're like applying for a larger company that has a big recruiting budget, they're going to have what's called an applicant tracking system. And so the applicant tracking system is going to be programmed to screen and see if you meet the minimum qualification. So just minimally, here's our list of basic qualifications. And if you don't, then the system is supposed to filter you out. It's not a human system. The system makes mistakes, but that's the general idea. Then from there, an actual human gets to see your profile, and they're going to evaluate you based off of the requirements for the position as well as the candidate pool. So I get a lot of people who reach out and they tell me about this rejection that they're experiencing during the recruiting process, or a process where you search and apply. So you're just getting all this rejection, and it can really impact your self-esteem. So when you read job postings, you got to read them from the perspective of, if I were to compare myself to the candidate pool, do I rank as qualified, competitive, or overqualified? Now, oftentimes recruiters and companies are going to steer away from candidates that are overqualified, because overqualified candidates tend to be hard to work with. They tend to demand things from the position that the position isn't offering. So you'll get someone who's got like a master's degree and they're applying for a position that's still kind of considered entry level, and they want to be paid, hey, I want an extra 30,000 because I have a master's degree. Well, this position doesn't require that, so we're not going to pay that, and we don't even want to have that conversation and waste time. This is our pay scale, this is our goal, and we already have an idea for what this candidate is going to look like and what we're willing to spend. So that leaves you with two categories, which is going to be your qualified, which means that basically I meet the minimum requirements for this position. So if a position says we want 5 years of experience in a similar field or a similar role, plus a bachelor's degree, you have that. That's it. You've got 5 years of experience in a similar type of role or similar type of industry, and then you have a bachelor's degree. That's all you have. You're qualified. I meet the minimum qualifications. Then you're going to have clients who are competitive. So a competitive candidate is going to be someone who has a bachelor's degree in this specific field. So I'm applying for a position, a HR generalist role. I've got my bachelor's degree in human resources, and I was an HR coordinator for 3 years. I was an HR assistant for 2 years. And then I was a benefits specialist for 2 years. So altogether, I've got 7 years of directly related experience, plus directly related education, plus the experience that I gained in my 5 or 7 years was experience that set the foundation for me to have the qualifications to perform in this role. So the things that I did were I did strategic functions that will prepare me for this role. That is a competitive candidate. So when you're applying for positions during times where it's like an employer's market, employers can have who they want. There's a shortage of jobs and there's an overage of candidates. You got to figure out where you fit in. And the problem that I'm seeing most often is you get a person who says, I want to work in human resources. This is my goal, but I don't have any experiences in HR. I've got experience working with policies. I've got experience, maybe being an administrative assistant. I've got experience making decisions, but I don't necessarily have experience in HR. So you're not competitive There's so many people who have these certifications, who have education, who have worked in a directly related field. And these are going to be the candidates that we want to see unless we're just desperate to hire. So where does that leave you? That leaves you kind of in a space where you have to understand, what are you looking to do? Are you looking to change fields? For example, you may say like, hey, I have been working for 3 years. I graduated 3 years ago, and I did a little bit of this, I did a little bit of that, and I got to expose myself to different parts of business. And now I'm like, I want to do HR. I did call center, I did customer service, I did sales, I did whatever. Now I want to do HR. Okay. So that is you essentially, you've got life experience. You've got experience working a job, but you don't have experience in the field that you're applying in, which is okay. So you have to come in at a level where they will give you that opportunity, which is entry level. So you've got to look at those HR coordinator and HR assistant roles. Even though you've got a bachelor's degree, even though you've got 3 years of general work experience, you don't have experience in this field. And then you have to, yes, I'm going to say that. And then you have to entry level. I'm either letting you enter this company or I'm letting you enter this field at this level. Now, if you're more of a professional candidate and you've got 10 years of experience and maybe you don't have the time or the budget, I can't go back and go HR assistant, HR coordinator, that position pays under $20 an hour. And I got bills based off of what I was making $30 an hour. So you kind of have to weigh it out because you've got to respect the hierarchy and the order of operations for the field. So a lot of times people will read these job descriptions, oh, they want 5 years of experience and a degree. Well, I've got 5 years of experience, but it's not in marketing. So you got to show some respect for the field and you've got to apply with intention. You can't just read these job postings and say, I think I can do this. I'm sure you can, but are you competitive? And if you're not a competitive candidate, then you have to develop a strategy that is consistent with getting into that field. So I'm not qualified for this marketing role, but there's an administrative assistant position within the marketing department that I'm qualified for. So there are steps that you have to follow to get where you want to get in your career. You can't just go work several years doing different things and try to glue this together to pitch yourself for a mid-level position, because you're going to be competing with people who knew since graduation, since they did their internship their junior year of college, that they wanted to work in marketing. So they did their internship at a marketing company. They attended marketing events and developed relationships. They got their foot in the door entry level at a marketing company. They got a mentor internally, and then they were groomed for this position that they've risen up to. And that's who you're competing with. So you can't look at the rejection from the perspective of, oh my God, I suck, I'm not qualified, I'll never get a job. Respect the field that you want to work in. Show commitment to the field. You may have shown partial commitment. Okay, I've got the degree. So you went and got the degree, and you mean to tell me that you can't follow the chain of command? You can't follow the order of operations to climb up the ladder. And then you become frustrated with the process and you want to give up, and then you start valuing yourself based off of the rejection that you received. This is nothing about your worth. This is nothing about whether or not you can perform in this position. It's about, hey, you haven't put in respect for the field. When I look at your resume, you've never worked in this field. You've had a job before. Yes, that's a bonus. You know how to work a job. You've kept the job for 2 or 3 years. Okay, great. You can finish something. You have a degree. Another thing is you take a lot of the time exploring the workforce. So, okay, I got this call center position, or I got this assistant position. Now I'm going to do this. Now I'm a specialist. Now, I'm a rep. Now I'm a customer success specialist, whatever. So you're doing all these different things because you're essentially, you don't know what you want to do, and so you're afraid of that commitment. It's much better of a strategy to just commit to a field. You know what? I kind of like marketing. I think this is what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and apply in the marketing department, and I'm going to be a marketing assistant. And then I'm going to grow up from there. At least you're building a career versus just working random jobs in different fields and having to put all this random stuff on your resume. At least you stayed on topic. And then, okay, maybe you did marketing for 5 years and you said, I don't like it anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, no problem. You have 5 years worth of relationships with vendors, contractors, internal work groups, people that you work alongside every day. Within those 5 years, those people have developed, they've moved on, they've gotten different roles, they may even be at different companies. You've built your LinkedIn, 5 years of connections. You know, my degree is in marketing. Now I want to be a project manager. Well, Susie, who you worked with 2 years ago, is the director of project management. You have a great rapport with her. Which leads me to my second point, relationships. Relationships are key. Every time you meet someone at school, at work, it should be intentional. You should be getting their information, whether it's their phone number, their LinkedIn, their Facebook, whatever, their email address. When you look at your phone and your phone has the contact section and it's like, where does this person live? Where do they work? What is their birthday? You should be sending out birthday emails, happy birthday, drinks on me, or a cute little digital email birthday card. Keep in contact with your relationship so that when you do see a position at that person's company, it's not like, oh, I haven't talked to you in 2 years. No, I just wished you a Merry Christmas. I just wished you a Happy Thanksgiving. I just wished you a Happy New Year. I just wished you a happy birthday. I just congratulated you on your promotion. I talked to you several times out the year. So a lot of the issues is just, number one, not being intentional. Number two, not capitalizing or optimizing those relationships. And of course, applying for positions that, quite frankly, you're minimally qualified for. You're not competitive. And if you're not competitive for the position or the role that you want, then you have to sink your teeth into the company that hires for these positions. Okay, you're not project manager ready yet. Okay, but this company hires project managers. So apply for what you are competitive for. And then when you go to your interview and they ask you, why do you want to work here? Because you are the second largest firm in the United States that hires project managers. I love your outstanding reputation. And if I'm going to be groomed for project management, I want to be groomed internally and I want to work for the best company. And I'm willing to come here and work in this position, build relationships, get the results that this company deserves, take advantage of all training opportunities so that eventually within the next 2 years, I can be a project manager. That's how you got to play it. So where do you fit in? Where do you rank? What are you missing? And how will you fill in those gaps? Does anybody have any questions for me? You had it. So what happened with your interview, Sierra? Hopefully I'm competitive. Yes, 5 years of related experience and the degree that is competitive. And hopefully you identified the transferable skills and you sold yourself. But I would say if you got the interview, then you were competitive. Now it's going to be the performance on the interview compared to the other candidates. Okay, so you should be following up Monday if you haven't heard anything. That's another thing too, following up. These recruiters are dealing with thousands of candidates. So if I'm recruiting for 5 positions and I've programmed the applicant tracking system to shut down after 250 applicants, and I'm recruiting for 10 positions, that's 2,500 candidates that I have to keep up with. So after it's been about a week 5 business days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you interviewed on Thursday, then if you haven't heard anything by next Thursday, you should be emailing. I will say this, never follow up with a recruiter on a Monday. Never follow up with a recruiter on a Friday. Monday, I'm just getting in. Friday, I'm ready to run out of here. Tuesday, Wednesday, great times to reach out to the recruiters. Things are kind of slowed down. Send an email and be extremely specific. My name is Bianca. I interviewed for the VP of Human Resources position on Monday, March 8th at 3 p.m. I'm inquiring, or I'm just reaching out to check the status to see when you think you will have a decision. Very simple. I hope you're doing well. Happy Tuesday. Be very polite, but be very specific. What is an easy entry-level job to get in while studying for my dream job? So if you are a college student, I'm gonna tell you, this is coming from someone, I worked my entire academic career. So you are in a position where you can start looking at companies. What is your dream job? What city and state are you going to be living in? You've got this dream job. What companies hire for your dream job? Go to their career section. So you make a list of 20 companies that hire for your dream job title. You will want to look at job descriptions for your dream job. Read it. What are they asking for? Be intentional. So then apply for companies rather than positions. So if I want to be a claims adjuster, I'm going to apply for every insurance company, and I'm qualified to either be a customer service representative or an administrative assistant. Apply for that. But they say you need a bachelor's degree to be a claims adjuster. Okay, well, by the time, if you're a sophomore, by the time you're a senior and you graduate, you've been a claims specialist or whatever for 3 years, you will have not only the relationships, the education, but the experience to back it up, and you're an internal candidate. You can go for, if the company you want to work for doesn't have entry-level positions, keep checking their job board and check their competition. If the company you want doesn't have it, then who does? And check their competition, because companies like hiring. I'll tell you, if you worked at State Farm and State Farm is the #1 insurance company, Allstate would love to have you. Progressive would love to have you. Geico would love to have you. So, you can go for their competition. Or like I said, read that job description and see, what is the chain of command and where else can you get it? A new nurse graduate, I don't recommend negotiating a salary unless you have a strong business case and you have evidence supporting why you should be paid this amount. So, if they're saying, oh, the starting wage is $20 an hour, and you look at the minimum qualifications was you just needed to be, pass the NCLEX and have your nursing program completed, you don't qualify for a raise necessarily or a salary negotiation. Now, if you're like, hey, I've got 2 years of nursing experience and this is my demonstrated results, I'm a champion at triaging patients in under 5 minutes and, identifying the chief complaint, and I have a proven track record of such and such, and I feel like the average salary for someone with my experience is XYZ. This position is offering X. I would like Y, and then they'll meet you somewhere. But if you're entry level, this is an opportunity, and you will see some positions. If you're out of line with what you're requesting, they may rescind the offer. So make sure you do your research and you have a business case. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I don't see any other questions. I'll wait a couple of minutes before I end the live. I don't think that you should send a thank you email right after the interview. I say that you can send it like a day or 2 or 3 afterwards, because my professional opinion is that you want to save that thank you email. It's more so like a nudge, a polite nudge. You're not really saying thank you for the interview. What you're really doing is nudging them. Hey, just kind of like bringing myself back up in your inbox. What's up? We interviewed. Thank you for the interview. You're basically, putting yourself back on their mind. So I don't do that. I wouldn't do that immediately after. I have 7 years customer service experience. However, I want to work as an HR assistant. How can I market that to a company? If you have 7 years of customer service experience, then you need to read those HR assistant vacancies and closely look at what they're asking for. What competencies? What are the functions that you'll be performing? Your customer service experience will need to express that you've performed those essential functions so that it makes sense and it looks transferable. How can I get into customer service with no experience? If you have absolutely no experience at all, and I don't know if you have a degree or not, but I mean, you can always start somewhere like Target. Honestly, if you work at like as a cashier or something like that for a year, you can leverage that to get a lot of different positions. It may be the resume. If you're not getting a call back at all, it's probably the resume. Do cover letters matter? I'm trying to go from a property adjuster to an analyst. I've been adding cover letters, but haven't helped. Cover letters are usually for when the position specifically says that you should have a cover letter. Employers don't usually read those. I'll just be honest. The only time we'll really read a cover letter or consider a cover letter is when it's down to the nitty gritty. Like, I have to justify hiring one of you over the other. Ooh, this one has a cover letter and it's well written. It's literally like a tiebreaker. Getting an HR certificate will make sense if you have HR experience. If you're getting the certificate to get HR experience, then no, it doesn't make sense. How to prepare for an HR interview? It really depends on what role you're applying for because the questions will vary based off the role. Do you offer services where I send in my resume? You can find an entry-level position based on my experience while I keep studying for my dream job. We do have a service called Apply for You, but it's sent out. I mean, it's sold out right now because of the amount of volume. So we're only doing applications for clients that are purchasing a resume too. Yes, customer service is the easiest thing to get into. Start off with retail, get that experience for like a year or so, and then you can make your way from there. Does anybody else have any other questions? No more? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the live. Oh, what advice for someone changing careers? So I touched on this a little bit previously. If you're changing careers, you really have to look at whether or not you want to look at whether or not you have truly have the transferable skills. You have to look at the position or the field that you're looking to transition to. What is the dream role? What is the goal role? And when you find out the goal role, you want to look at it from a perspective of, would I be competitive? Am I just qualified or am I overqualified? If you're just barely qualified, then you may want to respect the industry and the order of operations for that industry. So, for example, let's say you're going from a project manager to an HR position. Well, if you don't understand the core fundamentals of HR, like a project manager would be adjacent to a HR generalist. But in order to be an HR generalist, you need about 3 to 5 years of HR experience. So you have to say, well, where can I get those 3 to 5 years of experience? It's going to be at the coordinator or assistant level, which could be a pay cut. So you kind of have to respect respect the field. Do you really want to get into the field? Then you have to show that investment. You have to temporarily take that pay cut unless you know somebody. Now it does matter what field you're crossing over from. If it's a relatable field, you may be able to take an adjacent move, but you really have to determine how invested you are in this career change, and respect the fact that you may have to take a pay cut temporarily until you build up a reputation, results, and a track record at a company in that field. If you pair it with a resume service, you should go for the New Year, New Career package. It's going to give you a resume, cover letter, and 2 applications completed on your behalf. Okay. What sort of roles can direct support professionals transition into? So a direct support professional is like the ultimate customer service representative. I mean, you help people use the bathroom, you feed them, you make sure they get their meds. So you could go the medical route, or you can focus on the aspects of the billing, the aspects of compliance, the aspects of like coordinating transportation and logistics for your client, and you can go the administrative route in an unrelated field. Um, Direct support professionals often tend to only focus on like the human contact and the bedside functions. And when you do that, you sell yourself short and you lock yourself in the medical field. I believe in boot camps. I believe in, and this is Chelsea. Do you suggest going back to school to break into tech, or can boot camps work? I believe in boot camps. From what I'm seeing with tech, recruiters in tech want to know that you know this stuff, and people can be self-taught. I've seen self-taught people get 6-figure positions. If you want to learn it, you may want to consider going to school. But if there's a boot camp or something that teaches you, and someone is going to give you the opportunity to, even if it's like an entry level situation where you just get an opportunity to apply what you've learned so that you can build up that track record of results, it doesn't matter where it comes from. Those tech positions are very specific. They're telling you exactly what they want to see. And if you're delivering that, they don't care unless it's like a position that specifically requires a degree. I have an interview with the VP of Commerce tomorrow. I have 3 years experience in e-commerce retail planning. How would you suggest I sell my candidacy? Any other suggestions are helpful? Morgan, I would say that you want to think about 3 situations that you had amazing results related to e-commerce, whether that is policy, operating procedures, optimizing results. And you want to think about the situation, the task that you completed, the action, and the result. Prepare those types of examples in advance, write them down, and fine tune your responses based off of having those samples prepared. So the questions may not be 100% in line with what type of sample you've prepared, but just having those samples, it's easier to think on your feet when you have examples and you can just switch it up. Yes, this is a Black-owned business, and sure, we would love to come on your podcast. If you're following us on Instagram, send us a DM. I have an undergrad in business. Should I go for a master's in computer science or another bachelor's in computer science? I would say see what you can do with your master's degree in business first. So if you want to work in tech or you break into tech, my suggestion is find a tech company in your area, or online remote that hires in your area, and then figure out what you can do with that business degree and let them train you and let them develop you. Sometimes we develop ourselves for companies that didn't ask us to develop ourselves for them. These companies will develop you. They have these trainings. They will pay for them. So before you make a commitment like that, see what you can do with your bachelor's degree. I don't think you should get your master's degree if you don't know what you want to do. And master's programs are very specific. You're welcome. How you recommend a recent grad get into global health policy? I only have a clinical assistant background because of college. Global health policy. So pretty much similar advice to what I've given before. Pinpoint the companies that hire in global health policy. Stalk their career section, turn on those notifications for when they post positions, get in where you fit in and work your way up. The thing about these highly desirable positions is like this. You got to understand. If I'm a recruiter and I'm hiring people and my bonus, my pay, me keeping my job is based on sourcing clients or candidates that are going to stay in this position for 6 months or longer, that aren't going to turn over. I'm looking for candidates that make me look good so I can make my bonus. So if I have a position like global health policy and we are a company, I'm checking inside first. I've got people who've been at this company for 5 years. We've got people who we paid for them to get their degree in public health or public policy. So we're going to see if we want to hire them first. They're always going to trump you. So you got to get in where you fit in and work your way up, because when you start talking those mid-level positions with the titles and stuff, there's competition. There's internal competition. Internal competition is the worst type of competition, because I can pull their results. I can't pull your results. When I'm hiring externally, I have to go based off what you tell me. And you're not going to tell me the bad stuff. So that's one of those things that you have to be cognizant of when looking at those types of positions. And that's why I, gave the advice that I gave before. Timekeeping, is this a good strategy? Yes, that is a good strategy, Brandy. I've been looking for assistant roles that aren't necessarily HR roles, but have some functions. Employee files, timekeeping, is this a good strategy to build experience for when I complete my HR degree? Absolutely. And the longer that you work in the field while you're in college, the easier it will be for you to transition when you get that education that they're looking for. Child protectives, you want to, Aisha, you said tips for getting into government such as CPS or administration. I have a degree, but does that even help? For a lot of those positions, they do require a degree. And honestly, those positions are always in demand, especially right now. The thing about it is when you have those CPS roles, you have the gravy roles, and then you have the roles that nobody really wants. Obviously, it's going to be much easier for you to get into the position that nobody really wants with the bad hours and all of that. So you want to kind of seek opportunities that aren't appealing to internal candidates and get in. So a lot of this stuff is you have to pay your dues to the field. What fields can I transfer to as a property adjuster that has mentorship and training experience? You can honestly do compliance. You can do compliance-based roles. You're welcome. Yeah, you can leverage experience and skills from direct support to get into public health. Right now, the best opportunity for you to hop on is probably the contact tracing roles. That's a great way to get in public health, once in a lifetime opportunity. Do you have, I'm currently in public health, but would love to cross over into IT healthcare. What would be the best way? Do you have any IT experience? If you don't, then you want to talk to the company internally, your manager, your boss, your supervisor, and let them know that you want to get some IT experience and see what type of mentorships, leadership programs, development programs, or what ways that you can get some of that experience in your current role. Do I need to go back to college to work in marketing? It depends on what type of role you want. Some marketing roles, the title requires a degree, some doesn't. This is based on the company and the position that you're looking at. My suggestion as far as going back to school is to see what you can do without the education. If someone will give you a chance to learn marketing, figure out if you really like it. And then if you get into an opportunity and you see that growth is available and the degree is holding you back, then work on that. I don't see a lot of part-time opportunities for work from home, but if I can work on a list to see. Yes, customer service to administrative assistant is a realistic pivot. So trying to get on here once a week, and you're welcome, everyone. I'm trying to get on here once a week. So stay tuned, pop in, answer some of your questions. I'm I hope that these are helpful. Really want to support you on your job search. And I thank you guys for joining me. If you have any suggestions for topics that you want me to cover, then please let me know. You can DM me. Bye bye, guys.